How's it going, Wisconsin? It is so nice to be back. I am Dan O'Donnell, back to the land of the living. I had to ease into it yesterday. I was hosting the Mark Belling late afternoon show. Didn't quite feel well enough to do two shows in one day, but today I am fully returned. I will be doing, no, I'm not Jesus. Don't look at me like that. No. I feel like I rose from the dead. Let me tell you, it was like I got a phone call, and it was Jerry Bott saying, are you going to, be back to work? It felt like, Jesus, Lazarus, come forth from your tomb. Because my goodness, did I feel like grim death for about 3 consecutive days. I'm still not 100%, not even close, but well enough to host another foray into broadcast competence here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We so hope that you join us. AdventKnows.com talk and text line is always open for you. 414-799-1130. 1-800-838-9476 is our toll-free talk and text line. You can always email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on Twitter X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. We are streaming live on both sites right now via the Dan O'Cam, as well as on YouTube at youtube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. You can comment along, and we are going to try our best to feature some of the best comments on our Facebook and YouTube streams live on the screen. It's always a fun thing to do. And we are getting down to business right away, winning you some money. 9 o'clock word in the Cold Hard Cash contest is bonus, B-O-N-U-S, bonus. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword bonus to enter the contest for this hour. My thanks to producer Dave and Jerry Bott for filling in for me the last couple of days. Trust me, folks, you would not have wanted to hear the words wrong, isn't it? Okay, what's the actual word? Bills, B-I-L-L-S, bills. You've got until 55 past the hour to enter the keyword bills. The word is bills, not bonus, bills. B-I-L-L-S, bills is your correct word. My thanks to Jerry Bott for filling in for me. No thanks to Dave for giving me the wrong word. But it was very, very difficult for me to even get out of bed or raise my head from the pillow for 2 days. I assume it was influenza. And the only reason I assume it was that is because I actually had influenza about 12 years ago, coincidentally enough. And when I told this story on the air yesterday, I got influenza about 3 days after I got the flu shot. And that was the last time I ever got a flu shot. And people say, well, it's dead virus, Dan. It can't possibly give you influenza. Didn't matter. After that, I said, you know what? I think I'm probably done getting flu shots because I had never, up to that point, been sicker than I was for about 4 days. It was about 4 days where I couldn't even get out of bed. My wife was just as sick as I was. We had 2 very small children at that point. And it was rough. We had to have Grammy and Grampy come and take the kids. So we literally could not look after our children because we were that sick. That's how I felt on Sunday and Monday. I honestly, it started about Saturday night. And producer Dave, kudos to you. You actually noticed on Friday that I really wasn't feeling that well. And of course, what do? Venture out for a house meeting in the middle of a blizzard, all the way out to Menominee Falls, drive back in the most treacherous driving. I passed 3 cars, spun out on the freeway, 2 more in ditches. The next day, I spend about 4 days 4 hours snow blowing and shoveling with my sons, coaching 2 soccer games. My brother and sister-in-law didn't have power and the temperature was plunging, so we had a big sleepover with them and their 3 daughters, and we stayed up late watching the Squid Game reality show, which our families absolutely love. And I started feeling sick, woke up the next morning. I had no idea. An entire family left my house, and I had no idea they were gone. Woke up at about 10 a.m. and said, wow, everybody's gone. Guess I'm going back to sleep. And I have no idea what happened after that. What I can tell you happened in the Iowa caucuses was not especially surprising. President Trump, of course, dominates, but there were 49% of Republican voters who didn't vote for him. We'll get to that. It is Wednesday. We will play Guess What's Racist, America's favorite game show. Coming up at the end of this hour, we will, as we do every day, name the unhinged liberal of the day. But for all intents and purposes, and I know Nikki Haley is polling about dead even with Trump in New Hampshire. Folks, it's not going to matter. Come Super Tuesday, he's going to win all of the delegates. He is going to be the Republican nominee. And you can tell because Democrats have already started their general election campaign, busting out the big guns for a fundraising video with Grandpa Joe, none other than Barack Obama.
Our democracy depends on you.
It really does, folks. That's no joke.
That's why we need you. We need your help to ensure Joe's leadership continues to guide us forward. We know the other side won't rest, so we can't either. Your donation will help give Joe and Kamala's campaign the resources it needs.
Let's make history again. Chip in now. Let's secure a brighter future together.
It's about democracy. You see, Trump is such a special and unique threat to democracy that you just have to save not just this country, but civilization itself. The bedrock principle of thousands of years of Western civilization depends on you donating $25 to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. It is rather ridiculous when you think about it. And it's made even more ridiculous by the fact that Democrats say Trump is this unique and horrific threat to society itself. And also every other Republican is just as bad as Trump. Kind of makes him sound like the boy who cried wolf, doesn't it? It's also why Republicans never take this seriously, because we know if Ron DeSantis, let's say the indictments never happened, and Ron DeSantis gets in the race and actually does to Trump what Trump did to DeSantis and Haley in the Iowa caucuses. It is entirely possible, folks, that if Trump is never indicted, we've got a lengthy column by the great Andrew McCarthy that sort of illustrates this point. He's saying exactly what I've been saying for months, that there was nothing any other Republican could do. Once Trump was indicted, the base rallied around him, and that was that. But if Trump is this unique threat, that democracy will fall if Trump is reelected, then how can you with a straight face say, oh, yeah, also Nikki Haley is just as bad. Yeah, that Vivek Ramaswamy guy, I know nobody knows who he is, but democracy will fall too if he's elected. That's exactly what J.B. Pritzker, one of the chairs of the Biden campaign, he also happens to be a billionaire, and he also happens to be the governor of Illinois, said. He says at a rally on Monday night, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, they're just as bad as Trump. And when even Poppy Harlow over on CNN is calling you out on this nonsense, Governor JB, maybe people are starting to no longer hear your cries of wolf.
I want to ask you about something that you said last night, actually a couple times on different networks. You said there's no difference between the Republican candidates in this field. And you went on to say whether you like your MAGA Trump agenda wrapped in original packaging or with high heels or lifts in their boots. I hear that dig. Governor, are you really saying that the view of the Biden administration and you is that Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis are an equal threat to this country as Donald Trump?
Look, these are personality differences, but not differences on policy and not differences when it comes to the impact on the American public, right? The Republicans, all of them, want to take away your freedoms. They frankly want to diminish your wages because they think that's good for the economy. The Republicans are the ones who are taking away, again, food support for our most vulnerable children and families. I don't think that's where the American public is, but that is where the Republican Party is. That is the Republican Party of Donald Trump.
Now, were any of those things singular threats to democracy? Or were those just policy-based attacks on Republicans? There's literally nothing in there that's threat to democracy-ish. A Biden campaign spokesman by the name of Michael Tyler, he is apparently their communications director, he goes on CNN this morning with John Berman and essentially says the same thing. Trump is this unique existential threat, but the primary's not totally over. So we also have to say that Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley are still this unique existential threat. And, oh yeah, Asa Hutchinson. You cannot let Asa Hutchinson near the White House or democracy itself will end. Yes, I know Hutchinson suspended his campaign. Kind of doing a thing here, folks. Doug Burgum. We cannot let those eyebrows destroy democracy. Do you see how ridiculous this all looks to the average person? But what is the average person actually seeing? Are they hearing the cries of wolf? Are they actually believing that there is this threat to democracy? Or are they sort of tuning it all out? But again, when even John Berman is saying, hey, wait a second, I thought Trump was this unique mutant super Hitler. Now you're saying Nikki Haley's just as bad?
Does that undermine your argument, saying there's little difference? Because on the one hand, you talk about how Donald Trump is a threat to democracy and has said that he wants to be a dictator and paint him as this unique outlier. But on the other hand, you say there's not much difference between Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. So does that undermine the first argument?
Well, no, because everybody's doing their best to emulate the extremism that we see in Donald Trump, right? They are all running on advancing abortion bans. They're all running on ripping away health care from Americans who need it. They're all embracing the big lie, this MAGA extremism. They're all litigating the causes of the Civil War if black folks somehow benefited from slavery. So, again, there's not a whole lot of difference between these candidates.
Once again, were any of those things that were listed at all threats to democracy? Healthcare, abortion, relitigating the Civil War for some reason, which is a huge issue. Incidentally, it was a remarkably stupid answer by Nikki Haley. Yes, technically, it was about states' rights. States' rights to own slaves. Okay. The cause of the Civil War, the underlying cause for the better part, the nation was on a path towards civil war for the better part of a decade and a half. There were deep negotiations to try to prevent what was happening. Ultimately, though, when a Republican was elected, the very first Republican president was elected, almost immediately, do you know whose state was the very first to secede? Nikki Haley should know this. South Carolina. Democrats just had to keep their slaves. They were terrified a Republican was going to take their slaves away from them, so they seceded. Technically, yes, the Civil War was about secession, but secession happened over fears of emancipation. This is so easy. This is why I'm also convinced that politicians are not especially smart. But did any of those things that the Biden campaign spokesman sound even remotely like threats to democracy? Now, we've got a report over the weekend. Did you see this one? That the military is very concerned that Trump is going to use his position as commander-in-chief, if reelected, to do things that would be anti-democratic. And then there was the great panic because in an appellate court hearing, his lawyer argued for full presidential immunity. And one of the judges on this 3-judge panel in D.C. said, well, theoretically, then, could Trump use the military to have his political opponents assassinated? And the lawyer said, well, then the proper remedy would be impeachment, removal, and then a criminal conviction. There is a line of constitutional thought that says, yes, the president does enjoy full immunity from all criminal prosecution, both state and federal, while he serves as president. I don't happen to subscribe to that. The president is not a king. He is the first citizen among all citizens, but he is still a citizen subject to the laws of the United States and the 50 states therein. But this led to all sorts of, Donald Trump is going to use the military to assassinate Biden and all of this panic. And then all of a sudden, what do you see? You see reports over the weekend that there are all manner of nonprofit groups lined up to undermine Trump, attempting to use the military or any federal government agency to do his evil bidding. Now, read that as exactly what happened in the first Trump term. Trump was such a horrible dictator, he didn't even have control of his own bureaucracy, which from the very beginning undermined him with a completely bogus Russia collusion investigation in which all manner of nonsense was leaked out into the media in an effort to destroy his presidency and get him impeached and removed from office. Do you remember the headline it was either the New York Times or the Washington Post on January 20th, 2017? The day Trump was inaugurated. Do you remember the headline? The move to impeach Trump begins now. Day one. Day one. The media was out to remove him from office. Democrats are out to remove him from office. The quote-unquote deep state, which I prefer to call the federal bureaucracy, the entrenched apparatus of government. Elected officials, appointed officials come and go. The people who are career civil servants, the millions and millions and millions of them who are 90 to 95% Democrat, are there forever. It's impossible to fire them. And every single one of them, it seemed, was doing their level best to undermine Trump at every step. Does this sound like a man who is going to turn the executive branch into a Fourth Reich? Who, by the sheer power of his evil personality, is going to brainwash all of these? Of course not. It's hysterical fear-mongering, but this apparently is all Democrats have, because the one thing they can't run on, the one thing they can't tout, they can't advance, is vote for Biden because he's better than the other guy, because his tenure in office has been better than Trump's. Dan O'Donnell Show, conservative thought, not just talk.
The music we listen to all year long.
The anthems that were our soundtrack for 2023.
And the stars who made the songs we love will all be celebrated.
Live from Los Angeles on Fox, April 1st.
Be here as the nominees for our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Awards are announced.
Let's get it started.
Tomorrow at 8 a.m.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who is experiencing shoulder, hip, or knee pain and a total joint replacement may be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Hey, a lot of you know that I learned how to use a firearm when I was 11 years old. I've been practicing my entire life, and people ask me all the time, Hannity, what kind of gun should I get? Well, now I'm telling them, go to Henry Repeating Arms. And I always tell them to start just by going to their website, henryusa.com. You're going to get a free catalog. Now, Henry has over 200 models of rifles and shotguns to choose from. They're made with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen, and you don't beat their performance. Every one I had was accurate right out of the box and reliable ever since. Their company motto is made in America or not made at all. They have a lifetime warranty, family-owned business, and these folks are true patriots who give back to our military, our vets, our first responders, sick kids, you name it. They support gun safety, and they support our Second Amendment. So if you're in the market for a high-quality American-made firearm, just go to henryusa.com. You get their free catalog, list of dealers, and free decals, henryusa.com. You'll love this company.
It's 2 days after an important moment in the Republican primary calendar. So that means, of course, there's a Trump trial going on. Jury selection continues today in the E. Jean Carroll defamation damages lawsuit. Now, it gets very confusing because there are so many civil and criminal trials that all seem to be happening one after the other right as 2024 ramps up. It is so weird, this coincidence, isn't it? What this case is in New York. It is a damage award trial for E. Jean Carroll. She is the advice columnist who alleged that Trump sexually assaulted her in a Bergdorf's dressing room. It's a very high-end department store in New York back in sometime in the mid-1990s, 95, 96 maybe. It was the fall, springtime, perhaps. She couldn't quite say why nobody heard her scream or nobody saw Donald Trump forcibly take her into a dressing room. And Bergdorf's, by the way, has dressing room attendants, and the dressing rooms are locked. The attendant will have to unlock the dressing room in order for a customer to go inside. It's an anti-theft measure. And also, department stores like that typically have attendants to help you make sure that everything, it's a client assistance thing. Nordstrom does the same thing. You get fitted for a suit or something like that, and they'll, stand outside the dressing room with a couple of options, and, they'll take your measurements and that sort of thing. She can't explain why just on this random day where one of the most famous men in the world, even back in the mid-1990s, raped her, not a single customer, not a single clerk, not a single fitting room attendant saw it. But of course, last year, a Manhattan civil jury found that Trump was in fact liable for sexual battery as well as defamation for calling E. Jean Carroll a liar. Now, I don't want to get sued, so I won't call E. Jean Carroll a liar. I will simply say this. When she was interviewed in 2019 by Lawrence O'Donnell, no relation to me, Lawrence actually asked her, E. Jean, why don't you try to pursue criminal charges against Trump? This was her answer.
Would you consider bringing a rape charge against Donald Trump for this? Why not?
I would find it disrespectful to the women who are down on the border, who are being raped around the clock down there without any protection. They're young women.
Wait. What? Wait. She was raped by Trump, but would find bringing criminal charges against Trump, which she would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, not a greater preponderance of the evidence. I don't have to tell you, a much higher standard, because it would be disrespectful to all of the women being raped at the southern border. Please, woman who is definitely not lying about this, continue.
They've, tried to come into the country. They're, as you know, they're there by the thousand. The women have very little protection there. It would just be disrespectful if I, and mine was 3 minutes. I'm a mature woman. I can handle it. I can keep going. My life has gone on. Wait.
You're not going to bring criminal charges because it was only 3 minutes and you're a mature woman and you can handle it. Please finish this up, woman who's definitely not lying.
I'm a happy woman, but for the women down there, and for the women actually around the world, in every culture this is going on, no matter high in society or low in society, it just seems disrespectful that I would bring it just doesn't make sense to me.
No, that answer doesn't make sense to me. But this is the sort of thing that we're going to hear every single day for the next, 10 months? This is exactly what Democrats have wanted. Trump to be the nominee, and he is and has been really since 2020. Let's be totally honest. As soon as the networks called the election for Biden and Kamala, 5 days afterwards, it was that Saturday after the Tuesday election in 2020. As soon as that happened, Trump became the presumptive nominee in 2024. As soon as that happened, this strategy was thrown into effect. And in case you don't believe me, look at the timeline. Donald Trump officially declares his candidacy for the presidency on November 15th, 2022. 3 days later, Special Counsel Jack Smith is named to investigate the January 6th insurrection and Trump's role in it. The Mar-a-Lago documents as well. Was this Democrat strategy all along? That is the contention of Andrew McCarthy, who has a fantastic column out today in National Review. We'll share some of that next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. I frequently speak with people who are unhappy with their landscaping and they're unsure how to turn things around. Well, here are 4 tasks that will make a remarkable improvement to dull landscaping. Number 1, thick, lush green grass. We need food and water to be healthy. Our lawn care programs and irrigation systems provide your grass with everything it needs to thrive. Number 2, pruning. Regular, technically correct pruning keeps plants strong and vibrant. Number 3, plant bed edging and a fresh layer of bark mulch. There's nothing better than the look of crisp bed edges and fresh mulch. Number 4, landscape lighting. You finally have your landscaping looking its best. A landscape lighting system lets your landscaping come alive after dark. So there you are, 4 landscaping tips that amplify the beauty of your home. Please call Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Sun, 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 fun, 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 sun, sun, sun. Boaters, this is your show, the Milwaukee Boat Show at State Fair Park. Over 300 boats, family runabouts, ski and surf boats, luxury pontoons, more Lake Michigan boats than ever. Tierra, Beneteau, Pursuit, Cruisers, Sea Ray, Boston Whaler, and more. We have the boat. See Twiggy the water skiing squirrel the second weekend. Check MilwaukeeBoatShow.com January 19th through 28th. Closed Monday and Tuesday.
A jewelry store can be a pretty scary place. It's full of diamonds and gold, and sometimes the salespeople can make you feel like you really don't belong.
Who wants to feel like that? Buying a diamond should be one of the happiest and most exciting moments of your life, and we promise to make it that way for you. Cross my heart. No matter your age, how you're dressed, or how much money you have, you're going to have a magical experience when you come to Kessler's.
You're going to see the largest selection of diamond engagement rings in one place at one time than you've ever seen in your life.
Looking at rings is a wonderful way to spend time together. And when you find the ring you know is the one, but cash might be a little tight, we've got fantastic financing available and we'll work hard to get you approved.
We're on your side. Kessler's is always on your side. We're 8 stores strong with 6 locations in Wisconsin and 2 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We'd be thrilled to have you stop in and see what we're all about.
Market volatility, global issues, inflation, still. More than a few headwinds this year. That's probably why Americans feel uncertain about their financial futures. Boomers, not much room for error. Gen X might need more than a 401k. And for millennials, it's time to get real about saving and investing. Talk to Annex Wealth Management. Build security with a partner on your side for unbiased advice. You may need more than investments. That's why Annex delivers tax and estate planning. There's an Annex plan personalized for you. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
I'm Mike. Reality Construction Scheduling System makes sure every contractor knows when to be on the job.
I'm Gina. Mike manages every remodeling project so every project is on time and on budget.
Gina walks you through every option and choice before we start so there are never surprises or disappointments.
Unlike any other remodeling company, you will be dealing with the owners of Reality every step of the way. We look forward to being bottom line accountable to every home remodel client.
Reality Construction, RealityConstructionLLC.com. RealityConstructionLLC.com.
It's obvious the unthinkable continues. Most Americans know something very wrong is happening. People in charge keep telling you that everything's fine and to stop noticing. But you know better. That's why self-reliant folks are investing in emergency food storage. And you should too. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, are the ones you can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Save $200 on each 3-month food kit you purchase. My Patriot Supply also sells solar generators, gravity-powered water filters, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, heirloom seeds, and survival gear. Order by 3 p.m. and your items ship that same day and arrive quickly on your doorstep in unmarked boxes. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today. Time is running out to prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
Hey, my name's Jay Shetty, and I'm the host of On Purpose, the #1 health podcast in the world. Join me this week as I chat with Michelle Obama, a woman of immense strength and grace. Tune in as we navigate through the chapters of her life, uncovering the moments that have contributed to her inspiring story.
What keeps me up are the things that I know. The war in the regions. What is AI going to do?
Listen to On Purpose with Jay Shetty on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today. Bullet points.
I'm Evan Brown. Happy New Year. Hope you didn't shoot off any celebratory gunfire. There's a few new laws across several states in the new year that gun owners and enthusiasts should probably know about. We'll begin in Illinois, where the state-mandated registry for certain firearms, like AR-15-style semi-automatic rifles, is now in effect. The state created it following the July 4th parade shooting in the town of Highland Park. Anyone who hasn't registered their firearms on that state list by now will now face charges if found out. Multiple infractions can land you in prison for a decade in Illinois. Now, laws passed in Delaware prohibit legal owners from carrying in schools or at polling places. With all the election stuff this year, be sure to know what the law is if you carry while headed to the polls. And in New Jersey, firearms traffickers can be prosecuted if they sell a gun used in a crime. And those are your bullet points. I'm Evan Brown, Fox News.
Andrew McCarthy, the great legal analyst, U.S. attorney, National Review columnist, writing in the magazine today, hard as this is, Trump-sympathetic Republicans need for analytical purposes to set aside their seething over the Democrats' exploitation of punitive legal processes against the former president. You need to put yourselves in the shoes of the country as a whole. Most Americans do not see this as you do. They vote, but they don't follow politics closely. They are not attuned to the partisan machinations the way incumbent Democrats convert the legal system into a campaign weapon. They know only the broad outlines of news coverage. Is this not what I've been saying for the better part of a year? The overwhelming majority of voters have no earthly idea what's actually going on. They vote, and their votes count just as much as yours do. You have to understand how they think. You have to understand how things look to them. To the extent that the majority of the country has formed impressions, they are that Trump tried to game the system to steal an election he lost in 2020, that he probably brought his legal troubles on himself, and that they don't want him to be president again. They see the Trump-Carroll escapade coming around again, and they recoil. E. Jean Carroll, for those just joining us right now, is the woman who accused Trump of raping her in a Bergdorf's. If you were listening to this show, you would have heard me poke innumerable holes in her testimony to the point where no jury would be able to convict Donald Trump on her allegations. She has no proof whatsoever. And she couldn't get her story straight for several decades. And then said, bizarrely, in a 2019 interview with Lawrence O'Donnell, no relation, on MSNBC, that she wouldn't bring charges against Trump because she would find that disrespectful to the illegal immigrants who are being raped on the southern border. It is the most bizarre thing I think I have ever heard from an alleged victim of a crime. I mean, think about it like this. Let's say I get carjacked. Well, I don't want to see my perpetrators brought to justice because that would be an affront to all of the innocent Palestinian children. What? Like what? Come on. They see the Trump Carol escapade coming around again, and they recoil. They hear Trump say again and again that he never knew this woman. And then the press shows them the photograph introduced at the first trial depicting Trump and Carol chatting apparently amiably at a party decades ago. They are reminded of the Access Hollywood tape. They hear that 2 other women in the last trial testified that they too were subjected to unwanted sexual advances, although not to the degree of rape which Carol alleges. They hear Trump ranting that all of these women are lying, just like the porn star and the Playboy model, the government officials who said there was no material voting fraud that would have overturned the 2020 election, DeSantis, who had the temerity to notice that Trump seemed like a rubber stamp for Anthony Fauci, and, well, nearly every Trump administration official who started out lauded by the president as the very best of the best, but ended up leaving in acrimony and warning the country that Trump oughtn't be trusted with power. Get ready. That is what the coverage has just begun telling the public. That is what the next year, starting today, is going to be like, day by day and commercial break by commercial break as we get closer to November. I don't know if any of the criminal cases will make it to trial, but I do know that Democrats will try very hard to get the 2020 election interference case to trial because they like their chances with a D.C. jury and an Obama-appointed judge whose predisposition against Trump is patent. Is Trump being subjected to abusive prosecutions? Yes. Democrats intentionally timed these indictments in order to affect the 2024 campaign. But that doesn't change what the reporting will be. The election interference charges are legally dubious, but coverage of the pretrial and potential trial proceedings will remind the public of Trump's mendacious Stop the Steal campaign, as well as the Capitol riot, which outside of Trump circles is loathed as a national disgrace. This is true. And this is one of the things that I think we as conservatives have the most difficult time understanding. That we see the January 6th defense. Of course, they're being railroaded by the justice system. Of course, this is one of the most shocking abuses of criminal justice law in this country's history. To hold people who were not violent, who just happened to be in the Capitol when they weren't permitted to be, which I have a serious question as to whether or not they were not allowed to be in there when video clearly shows Capitol police officers opening the doors for them and letting them in. Nonetheless, people who aren't listening to talk radio, who aren't consuming conservative media, who are only hearing what the mainstream media is telling them. Yes, I know they lie. The overwhelming majority of people don't even consume mainstream media religiously. They almost learn this stuff by osmosis. They sort of just hear something, and the tiny little grain of information that they have sort of underpins their entire belief about January 6th or Trump or any of the trials or anything like that. They believe it, and they're reminded of what it is they don't like about Trump. McCarthy goes on. The Georgia RICO case on election interference charges is flying under the media radar for now because it is mired in scandal and incoherence. This This is, by the way, a big scandal. You know how you can tell that Fani Willis, the Fulton County district attorney who hired her lover as a special prosecutor, she actually admitted it, by the way, in a speech at an AME church in Atlanta over the weekend on Sunday service. She said, you can't expect black women to save the world and be perfect. She's admitting that she absolutely did hire her lover, that her lover did take $600,000+, used at least some of that money to book cruises and other vacations, and took Fani Willis on them. In other words, Fani Willis was essentially paying herself with taxpayer money. This is a massive scandal. So the media is just dead silent on this one. Mainly, McCarthy continues, we hear that 4 defendants have pled guilty, which makes the case sound credible because the reporting obscures that the defendants pled to trivial charges, not RICO or anything close to it, all calling for no prison time despite the hyperbole about a plot to destroy our democracy. The Georgia case is duplicative of the federal election interference case, so the press will not need to cover it extensively to keep the Stop the Steal business and the Capitol riot front and center. In the Mar-a-Lago documents case, the charges are stronger, but it seems increasingly unlikely that a trial will take place before Election Day. Still, there will be pre-trial proceedings. Coverage of them will remind the public that Trump recklessly caused highly classified national defense intelligence to be shipped to his resort club in Florida, refused to turn it over for over a year, and then caused a grand jury to be misled about whether it had been surrendered to the FBI as lawfully demanded by a subpoena. Not helpful. This is what the saturation coverage is going to be for the next 10 months. It is foolish to think that because many, though far from all Republicans, are satisfied to wave all of this away as an election interference witch hunt, the majority of the voting public is going to feel that way. This is what I have been concerned about from the very beginning. And I understand the sentiment. Well, Dan, are we just going to let this sort of stuff happen? Are we just going to say, okay, well, you don't want Trump to be the nominee, so we're just going to charge him with a whole bunch of nonsense, and then Republicans, you nominate somebody else? No, I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying don't blind yourself. That, by the way, Andrew McCarthy in National Review. Don't blind yourself to the reality of how people outside of your worldview think about this. It's often one of the most impossible things to do. It's to get over what's known as confirmation bias. It's like we actively seek out information that confirms our worldview. It also actively causes us to avoid other information that conflicts with our worldview. It causes what's known as cognitive dissonance. And there's a tremendous amount of cognitive dissonance that arises when you say, okay, I understand how we see the Trump indictments. Imagine how somebody who doesn't vote except every 4 years in the presidential election, they probably couldn't even pronounce the name Vivek Ramaswamy, let alone tell you who he is. They have no earthly idea what's going on. And again, they only pick up little bits and pieces of this. There was a real disturbing stat that came out of the Iowa caucuses, and that was that a third of caucus goers thought that Donald Trump would be considered unfit to be president if he was convicted of a crime. I mean, Rachel Maddow, during MSNBC's coverage of the Iowa caucuses, sort of gave the game away when she whispered, he's going to be convicted. That's the whole point. Democrats want him convicted so that the number is something like 40% of American voters would not vote for someone who has been criminally convicted. That is a huge, huge issue. But again, does that mean that, well, we should just fold? Democrats won this one. The charge is the conviction. No, of course not. But I'm just saying this is going to be a big obstacle to overcome. We will name the unhinged liberal of the day when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
If
If you love football information and think you can profit from it, listen to the Mark Belling Football Preview and Picking Contest Thursdays in the 5 o'clock hour. Mark and Mike Merlette from American Sports Analysts look at pro and college games. Plus, one listener gets to pick a game against the spread or an over-under number for a chance to win $100.
The Mark Belling Football Preview and Picking Contest is presented by Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac. 6 automotive brands all in one place. It's worth the trip. HolidayAutomotive.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. I've been a big proponent of Lynch for a while now. Here's why. They're literally a family dealership and have been since 1957. That's increasingly rare in the dealership world today, but the Lynch family employs 500 plus people who are all dedicated to taking care of you. They've got a wide selection of new and used vehicles, extended service department hours for early drop-offs and late pickups, and most importantly, they're proud supporters of our local communities and schools. They also stand behind what they sell with Lynch certified used vehicles, including a 168-point inspection to determine eligibility, an unparalleled 90-day or 3,000-mile certified guarantee, and a 10-day 500-mile exchange policy. And when you pair this with the Lynch Protected program, they cover your paint, your windshield, and your tires, it's easy to see why you should consider Lynch. Check them out today at shoplynch.com.
Ask your advisor, are you 100% fee only for 100% of your clients 100% of the time? If they answer no, get a second opinion.
Financial strategies, what's the way to build your wealth?
FinancialStrategiesInc.com.
Struggling to get rid of those unwanted pounds? Stress, aging, and so many factors that are near impossible to control lead to diet and exercise resistant fat. Fat that's not your fault, but is for sure a problem. Well, until now. The doctors and experienced staff at a Younger You Medical Spa can help you get rid of stubborn, unwanted fat. With Cool Sculpting, they have performed over 5,000 treatments to help clients feel fit and confident. This fat freezing procedure uses cooling to remove fat from areas such as thighs, stomach, love handles, arms, and underneath the chin. Cool Sculpting is a non-surgical way to reduce fat and get the body you've always dreamed of. An FDA-cleared and clinically proven procedure that freezes unwanted fat cells for good with little to no downtime. And treatments are just under an hour. And with their amazing special of 50% off 8+ treatments, it's never been more affordable to transform your body for good. Book your free consultation now. A Younger You Medical Spa in Brookfield and Burlington, or at ayounger.com.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly.
I would recommend QC to anybody. QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
All year long, Klaus Roofing Systems by Buck Buckley offers free replacement roof repair and gutters. 100% satisfaction is the Klaus Roofing way. For a free estimate, visit KlausRoofingByBuck.com and put a Klaus on your house.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Hey, my name's Jay Shetty, and I'm the host of On Purpose, the #1 health podcast in the world. Join me this week as I chat with Michelle Obama, a woman of immense strength and grace. Tune in as we navigate through the chapters of her life, uncovering the moments that have contributed to her inspiring story.
What keeps me up are the things that I know. The war in the regions. What is AI going to do?
Listen to On Purpose with Jay Shetty on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. How is the recent cold snap affecting the people we must protect at all costs? I'm referring to, of course, the illegal immigrants. They are now complaining that it is too cold in America. You know, there is a real easy solution to that I don't think anyone is quite contemplating. We will have more on, look, this is, I wasn't in Tuesday, but this is Hard Truth Tuesday on Wednesday. Andrew McCarthy is in one column sort of encapsulating exactly what I'm saying. Of course, I'm already getting the texts. Dan, this column is just like what the Robin Vosses and Meghan McCains and Paul Ryans. No, this isn't. This is the point. The Paul Ryans and the Meghan McCains and the Robin Vosses, they're not who Andrew McCarthy is talking about. He's talking about your average stay-at-home mom who's far more concerned about getting the kids to school on time and getting them to all their activities than she is about politics. This is your average store clerk or your, I don't know, attorney who just doesn't care about, actually attorneys are all hyper political. That's probably a bad example. Your average mechanical engineer who just doesn't care about politics. They hear this stuff by osmosis. These are the people who matter in elections because there are so many of them. Democrats understand this, and Republicans, it seems, are, I think, have always been here playing with fire. Unhinged liberal of the daytime.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is the president of the Alibaba Group, J. Michael Evans. He's at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, and he's got a brand new invention, a personal carbon footprint tracker that does exactly what you think it does.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
You know who would be the first people I would demand have a personal carbon footprint tracker are people like J. Michael Evans and everyone who's taken a private jet to Davos, Switzerland to talk about all of us plebeians eating meat and driving SUVs. This guy in his one trip to Switzerland, I dare say, spent more carbon than I do in an entire year. And they have the temerity to say, well, we need all of you to have a personal carbon footprint tracker. Alibaba Group President J. Michael Evans is your unhinged liberal of the day. You gotta love Davos. Klaus Schwab, he looks and he's the guy behind the World Economic Forum. He looks and sounds like a cartoon supervillain. I didn't get a chance to watch his opening speech. I'm sure he said something like, yes, we need to take out half of the population for the other half to live. It's reliable how much the guy sounds like a cartoon villain. We'll be right back.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. After 5 days, the power is back on across southeast Wisconsin. We Energy says electricity has been fully restored after over 250,000 customers in the area lost power due to last weekend's snowstorm and the Arctic cold snap that followed. The utility says crews worked nonstop for 5 days to fully restore power to its customers. They add that additional crews from around the Midwest were brought in to deal with the number of outages due to downed trees and branches on electrical wires. At the Capitol in Madison, Assembly Speaker Robin Vos says a medical marijuana bill from Republicans in his chamber is non-negotiable with the Senate.
Most good ideas start in the Assembly. It takes a while for the senators to actually read the bill, to warm to them, to understand what they are. We have put in months and months of negotiations. We have a very detailed bill that I am pretty sure has 50 votes in our caucus to pass.
Last week, Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu rejected the Assembly bill, but indicated Senate Republicans were open to changes. COVID-19 has had lingering effects on the financial health of Americans. A real estate witch study conducted by Clever found that nearly 3/4 of those surveyed are struggling financially, mainly due to the aftermath of the pandemic. Those surveyed say they're foregoing saving money, and 44% of the working families surveyed live paycheck to paycheck. Additionally, 75% of Americans reported living paycheck to paycheck during the pandemic. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard, the Bucks get back into action tonight, facing the Cavaliers in Cleveland. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Kessler's gives you diamond choices that no one else can give you.
We have all the colors and clarities and carat weights of diamonds that come from diamond mines.
And we also have diamonds that come from plasma chambers, newborn created diamonds.
Is it time to buy an engagement ring?
Or a big anniversary diamond?
Tell them what an anniversary diamond is, Monica.
An anniversary diamond can be twice as big as the one in her engagement ring.
Why twice as big?
Every diamond makes a statement.
Okay.
The anniversary diamond says, I love you twice as much today as the day I married you.
Now tell them about our miraculous no small print warranty.
If you bought it at Kessler's, it's guaranteed.
It's just that simple.
And all maintenance is free forever.
No charge.
Yes, it really is that miraculous.
You found a partner you want to share your life with.
When you're ready to celebrate.
We've got a diamond for that.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Bitterly cold, lots of early sunshine, and then some more clouds today. We get to around 14 for the high. We'll drop back to single digits with sub-zero inland temperatures overnight tonight, and then likely back to double digits tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. During MVP's bonus days at Lowe's, save $250 when you buy a DeWalt 12-inch sliding miter saw and adjustable stand together. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at Mander Collision and Glass. I talk all the time about how Mander is your best decision after a collision or for windshield repair. But here's customer Sarah who writes, I went to Mander Glass in Muskego after getting a large crack in my windshield. They were able to get me in for an appointment quickly, and they were able to replace my windshield in just a few hours. The end result looks great. Very happy with the service and friendliness of the staff. Would recommend. Thanks so much for sharing that, Sarah. And in fact, I just had almost the exact same experience with Mander Glass myself. I got a small crack, which turned into a large crack, and the team at Mander took care of me with the professional and courteous service that you can only get from a family-owned business like Mander. Sarah and I know what you should too. Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellenbecker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
Grandin Go's crews help hundreds of people finally forget that tree every week. Grandin Go's state-of-the-art online stump calculator allows you to enter the size of your stumps, where they're located, and instantly receive an estimate. GrandinGoStumps.com.
The dentists at Elmbrook Family Dental meld talent and technology to give you a superior patient experience. Elmbrook Family Dental is an in-network preferred provider for most dental insurance groups, has early morning and nighttime hours, and now has 2 locations, next to Brookfield Square Mall and across from the corners of Brookfield. Check out ElmbrookFamilyDental.com.
Get big savings at Menards. Start 2024 refreshed by exploring Pittsburgh Paint's color trends of the year in-store or on Menards.com today. Save time on your painting projects with Pittsburgh's grand distinction. It's a premium paint and primer in one with high hiding coverage and long-lasting color. Get a gallon starting at $29.87 after $10 mail-in rebate now at Menards. Good through January 21st. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Paid actor portrayal.
Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. In 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected.
Ethos fast and easy online term life insurance up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Taking on the issues that the rest of the media fear. Mark Belling. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6. There's only one. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
2 years ago, the 49ers knocked the Packers out of the playoffs. Saturday night in San Francisco, will the Packers get their revenge? It's a classic playoff matchup. Listen to Packers, Niners, 3 p.m. pregame, 7:15 kickoff on the radio home of the Green Bay Packers. 97.3 The Game.
Got to put up a fantastic comment here from the Dano Cam. Comes from Facebook. So why do these I Heart Bonobos so anti-Trump? So why do these at I Heart Bonobos so anti-Trump? Yeah, it has nothing to do with corporate policy. Yeah, I know. Check out the Dano Cam. We got it up on the screen. It's okay. I'm gonna address this in just a second. He's calling us apes. I mean, admittedly, one of the greater of the great apes. Bonobos are actually pretty cool. Google a picture of them. They're good-looking creatures. If they're the ones I'm thinking of. Yeah, muscular, strong. They're sort of what you think of when you think of a traditional ape or monkey. But again, we're monkeys just doing corporate policy in bringing out the reality of the general election. We'll get to that. Don't worry. Just a second. Nationwide keyword in the Cold Hard Cash contest this hour is check. CHECK, check. You've got until 55 past this hour to go to our website and enter the keyword check to enter the contest for this hour. If your entry is picked at random, you'll win $1,000 instantly. CHECK, check. Enter. Win $1,000 in the cold hard cash contest. AdventKnows.com talk and text line 414-799-1130. You can also reach us toll free 1-800-838-9476. Email me dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on Twitter, X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. YouTube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show is where you can watch the show streaming live. Would you believe illegal immigrants? No, I'm sorry, migrants. Remember how we can no longer call them illegal aliens. Remember, illegal aliens makes them sound like they're from a foreign planet, not just a neighboring country. So then we had to call them illegal immigrants. And then the left said, well, no person can be illegal. So we call them undocumented immigrants. Then it was migrants. We don't even bother calling them undocumented. They're just migrants. They're like Tom Joad in The Grapes of Wrath. They're just going across the country looking for work. Now, they're going across several countries, of course. They're going in massive caravans being led by international drug cartels across multiple borders and being shepherded into the United States by a Biden administration that clearly wants them here. Now we're just calling them asylum seekers. You see, they're refugees. They're refugees from poor, violent communities. And they're going to Chicago, a poor, violent community. This report actually had me laughing out loud.
The cold is too much, says Gabriel Diaz, the 38-year-old new arrival from Venezuela, and dozens of others temporarily moved to the lower level of the Harold Washington Library. Because the city's windswept landing strip at Polk and Des Plaines presenting a dangerous environment for asylum seekers, temporarily forcing the suspension of the combination city and state intake center. Venezuelan asylum seeker Andres Contreras, a block down from the library, stunned to experience the bitter cold. The truth is that I'm not accustomed to this cold, Contreras says. I've never seen the snow before. It's beautiful, but it's too excessive, the cold you have here.
Really? You know where it's not cold? In January. In fact, let's see. I'm going to just do a very quick Google search. The temperature in Caracas, Venezuela, right now at this exact moment, 84 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm just saying, it's summer in the southern hemisphere. Very nice this time of year. Oh boy, it might dip a little bit, get all the way down to 67 degrees by 1 a.m. But man, we're going to top out at about 90 degrees at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Just some food for thought. Just some food for thought. Got a text here. WISN show hosts are a bunch of Paul Ryan-esque never-Trumpers. Kept turning you guys off when you would launch into your latest reason Trump can't win, Jeremiad. Your collective brains have been polluted by reading so much mainstream media propaganda, you just can't break away. Still praying for you and hoping that you don't drive off too many of the nominal Trump voters. This is on top of the quote that we've got. I've got this on the screen on the Dano cam. So why do these I Heart Bonobos so anti-Trump? Yeah, it has nothing to do with corporate policy. This I love. This is, and it admittedly, when you think of like MSNBC, you think, okay, they're supposed to say this because they're on MSNBC. Right, Jeff Zucker at CNN. Zucker actually would have daily meetings where he would basically tell CNN anchors and hosts, this is what you're supposed to say. This is our official company policy. I don't know how many times I have to say it. There has never been any time at any point during the 7 years I've been hosting this show that anyone has said, this is your position on this. In fact, if there would be that editorial control that anyone else would exert over my show, I would quit. It wouldn't even be a question. If they would say, no, Dan, you can't take this position. Our official position is this. Now, there are certain guidelines. I think it's sort of understood. Okay, Dan, all of a sudden, if you turn into a fire-breathing lib, your audience is probably going to abandon you. Just a heads up. But this idea that iHeartMedia is this evil global cabal, I mean, it is. Clearly, we are the evil empire of audio entertainment. We're proud to be so. Nobody has ever said anything to me. In fact, I had someone complain to me, Dave, about something you had said about ranked choice voting. And I said, look, here's Dave's email address. I have no control over what my hosts say. I have no editorial standards for when they come on. It is their deal. Sure, it's my show. It is under the Dan O'Donnell Show banner, but each individual person has their own individual opinions, and I would never police someone else's opinions, right? And there are the average things that it's sort of standard in every employment contract, like don't go on the air and be really, really racist. This is the other thing. When lefties, Dan O'Donnell's a misogynist. You do realize we're governed by the FCC, the Biden FCC, right? If I was saying anything that was horrific and racist and so beyond the pale, I'd be off the radio. I would not be able to continue doing what I am doing. This is why. Who is the sociopath who is the ethics commission guy? I keep forgetting his name. Scott Ross. Scott Ross was actually using his position to try to boycott my advertisers. Yeah, what did he call it? Clan O'Donnell, which was so funny. The old cocaine bear himself, Scott Ross. He didn't quite grasp that we are already one of the most heavily regulated media forms that you can have. Public radio, the public airwaves, it's not like cable. You can't. Have you noticed that CNN and ESPN, they're swearing? I had to bleep out the Pat McAfee show when McAfee was talking about why Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to be on anymore. I was shocked. I said, you can swear on ESPN now? I can't swear on my show. Well, yes, I can. I would be punished. There are some exceptions. You get it's called a fleeting expletive or something like that, or excited utterance is one where if, like, let's say, classic example is watching the Twin Towers collapse. When you saw the second plane hit the Twin Towers on live television on a number of broadcasts, you would hear anchors or witnesses, people were on just swearing because you're watching a plane hit the World Trade Center. So it's an excited utterance, and you can kind of slip that one past the censors. But speaking of censorship, there has never been an official corporate position about Donald Trump. And I will always go back to the old Les Moonves quote. Moonves, of course, the disgraced former president of CBS. And he said, while Trump was running for president, Donald Trump might be terrible for America, but he's great for CBS. This is a big reason why the news networks just never stopped covering Trump as though Trump was the president. I'm not sure if Media Research Center, Newsbusters, that organization, has done any sort of analysis on this, but the sheer volume of coverage of Donald Trump versus Joe Biden during Joe Biden's presidency, I would argue that there's 3 times as much Trump coverage as there is Biden coverage. And a lot of this is by design, because if we were covering Biden, we'd have to acknowledge that, hey, over the past 25 days, I'm fairly certain Biden has had 4 public events. Granted, those 25 days were over the Christmas holiday, but still, that's a light schedule even for him. And in the last couple of videos he's cut, he hasn't looked particularly good. But as far as this idea that we bonobos at WISN or in talk media are anti-Trump or are somehow turning off Trump voters by giving you the truth, call me Jack Nicholson, or the anti-Jack Nicholson, I guess, because I believe you can handle the truth. And the truth is that there are a lot of people who have made up their minds about Trump. And there are a lot of people for whom the constant trial coverage and constant criminal coverage of Trump, yes, it is by design by the left, it is going to have an impact, and it is going to make them less likely to vote for Trump. This was always the danger in nominating Trump. I don't think there was ever really going to be an alternative to nominating Trump. I think since Trump lost in 2020, and yes, he did lose. Did he lose an election that was not held in accordance with state law? Yes, he did. Did he lose because Dominion voting machines were flipping votes? No. There's no evidence for that. Was there ample evidence that Democrats broke pretty much every election rule they could, violated the law over and over and over again to give Democrats a partisan advantage? Yeah, of course. Of course. Is there any reason to believe that anything will be different this time? Mail-in voting is a thing. It's here to stay. I wish it weren't, but it is. Had a text earlier in the show, and I've been struggling in vain to find it, a very astute text on our adventknows.com talk and text line, in which they said, look, Dan, it's not about the middle so much anymore as it is about the base. It's about just getting your votes out there. And Democrats have mastered this, especially on college campuses. I was talking to an undergraduate at the University of California, Davis, of all places, on Friday. And she had contacted me because she read a piece I had done for the MacIver Institute. And she's doing her undergraduate thesis in political science on the 2022 Tim Michels Governor Evers election. And she read my breakdown of that race and got a hold of me and asked me some questions about Wisconsin politics. And I said, one of the biggest factors in Wisconsin, and I think even though Wisconsin is unique in that our state school system of universities is so strong, like people don't understand, I don't think, that Wisconsin is rather unique. We don't have in other states the likes of a UW Whitewater, UW La Crosse, UW Stout, River Falls, all of these. Does River Falls even still exist? I apologize if it does. I should probably know this since my son is going to start applying for colleges in the next year. Wait, when do you apply for colleges? Senior year, next 2 years. Okay, he's a sophomore. No, you don't apply to colleges before your senior. You apply like early senior year. Early admission is in the fall, Dave. I don't think so. Yeah, okay, no, I won't say that. Dave says, okay, the process starts earlier and earlier. I'm going to take your word for it, but I have a distinct memory of applying the fall of my freshman year. I don't think they even, I don't know. Let's just put it that way. The activation of the college campuses in the UW system in terms of just turning out every single vote from every single dorm room and every single apartment building anywhere near the campus is enough to propel Democrats to victory. And I have not seen a coherent strategy from the Wisconsin Republican Party, just as I'm sure we aren't seeing similar strategies to combat the overwhelming flood of mail-in and absentee ballots in Pennsylvania, in Arizona, in Michigan, in the states that Republicans are going to need to win. Sure, Trump is leading in all the polls. a generic Republican, leading in all the polls as well against Biden. Those don't translate to votes. And I'm telling you, folks, what all of this threat to democracy stuff is and has always been all about, sure, it's for the undecided voters that, oh, Trump is this existential threat, but it's really to get the base of Democrat lefties whipped into a fray. Nobody's excited about Joe Biden. Nobody wants to sit there and defend Biden's abysmal record and try to say, yes, this obviously failing, cognitively and physically diminished specimen is our strong, fearless leader. They don't want to do that. So they rally around the idea that Trump is this unique existential threat to this country and to democracy itself. And, oh, by the way, I don't want to distract myself too much. My wife says my ADHD is coming through on the radio a bit too much, that I'm jumping from topic to topic. So, honey, I don't want to do that. But you know, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. When people say we are not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic. Okay? Do you know why? Because a constitutional republic is a type of democracy. So yes, while technically that is true, we are a democracy. Think of it as like the kingdom, phylum, class of animal. You know, we're like Homo sapien under the, mammal class or whatever. Democracy, underneath the umbrella of democracy, is constitutional republic. Okay? Dave says he agrees with Megan. But they are saying that Trump is this horrible existential threat to democracy. And by the way, so are every other Republican, just so you know. Every other Republican, also an existential threat to democracy, just as bad as Trump, if not worse. But they're doing this to motivate their people who otherwise might not be as engaged, not necessarily to get out and vote, but to volunteer, to sign up to work for these organizations, to stay engaged in politics so that they can be the ones getting the absentee ballots in the hands of the voters who they just need to scribble out a signature. According to a court in Wisconsin, you don't even need a complete address in order to fill in that absentee ballot. Yeah, why not? Go ahead. We just want that vote to count. This is what we're up against. And talking about what the next 10 months is going to be like, if that is anti-Trump, never Trump, I don't want to hear it, well, then you can be an ostrich and stick your head in the sand. Regardless of whether or not you ever come up for air and take a look around once in a while, this is reality, and it's happening all around you, whether or not you choose to acknowledge it. We're going to play Guess What's Racist, America's favorite game show, coming up next, and we will take caller number 24. Caller number 24 at 414-799-1130 or 1-800-838-9476.
Talk radio redefined. Dan O'Donnell will be right back.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aww. He just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hard work and dreams lead to success, but easily filing your taxes with TurboTax and Credit Karma doesn't hurt either. Make filing taxes a walk in the park, because we'll pre-fill your info for you so you can file quickly and confidently. Winner! Get the peace of mind that comes with expert help. Let's go! Being powered by TurboTax means you're backed by the leading tax preparer, and we'll show you all your filing options up front so there are no surprises. File your taxes on Intuit Credit Karma today. Expert help not available with all products. Guarantee details available at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
There's no better time than the new year to help protect your identity and finances. LifeLock detects potential threats to your identity that you may miss on your own. If you do become a victim, a U.S.-based LifeLock restoration specialist will work to fix it. LifeLock is the New Year's resolution that's easy to keep. Save 25% off your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock or go to lifelock.com. Promo code CLAY to save 25%. That's lifelock.com. Promo code CLAY.
It's 2024. Do you honestly think the government is looking out for you? Do they have your back? We have political chaos, global wars, no border protection, and our leadership telling you about pronouns and electric cars. It's time to take a hard look at protecting yourself and your family. It's time to visit the Oxford Gold Group. Call the Oxford Gold Group at 833-995-GOLD and order the investment guide or make a purchase of precious metals and get up to $2,500 in free gold. 833-995-GOLD.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Deep Cuts. Featuring deep album tracks from iconic artists like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, The Who, The Stones, and more. Try something new for 2024. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Deep Cuts, and listen now. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
Now,
back to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
I don't want to be that guy, but do I sound a little off, Dave? Do I? No, I mean like just stuffed up and everything. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I have been like sweating the entire second half of this show. And I'm like, oh boy, I know where this is going. So yeah, no, it has nothing to do with the thermostat. Dave just came in here and turned down the heat. No, I'm still sick. You know, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sitting here during the commercial break and I'm thinking to myself, man, I really don't feel good right now. So I'm hoping I sound okay. Now let's cheer everybody up, including myself, by playing America's favorite game show.
Guess What's Racist?
It is that time of the week where we test our contestants' knowledge of just how terrible America is. Today's contestant comes to us all the way from Mukwonago. Please say hi to Pat. Pat, welcome to Guess What's Racist.
Well, thank you. First-time caller, and I appreciate what you and your station does for the Republican Party. Country needs you guys.
I really appreciate that. Now, Pat, I've got to ask, your accent, it doesn't sound like you're originally from Mukwonago, if I may be so bold as to presume.
Okay, well, I lived in Knoxville, Tennessee for 10 years, and it just hasn't let me go.
I love Knoxville, Tennessee. Unfortunately, anything south of the Mason-Dixon line is inherently horribly, horribly racist. Never mind the fact that it was always Democrats who were the racist ones in the American South. But you've already, I think, got a lot to learn here on the game show. Pat, are you aware of how we play America's favorite game show, Guess What's Racist?
Of course.
You are. Okay, for those who aren't, I am going to give Pat a list of 3 things. They're going to be related, but none of the 3 is going to stand out and be like, whoa, that's racist. They're all going to be benign. They're all going to be regular, everyday things. But in the last couple of days, and oftentimes we found that this genre of journalism, declaring something suddenly racist, is so prevalent that within the last 24 hours, this article will have been published declaring this thing suddenly and unforgivably racist. All right, Pat, you ready to play? I am. Let's get to it then. Guess what's racist, Pat? Aging, maturing, or growing up?
Maturing.
No, I'm sorry, it is aging. According to the University of Pennsylvania's blog Today, see what I mean? Within 24 hours, Today. On average, Black Americans are biologically about 9 years older than white Americans of the same chronological age. Why? Because racism is aging them. According to a new study by LDI senior fellow Courtney Bowen, this aging disparity stems from inequitable social and economic lived experiences. These challenges include racialized poverty and lower wealth, discrimination, and a higher frequency of major events such as family deaths. These exposures lead to measurable psychological stress reactions. Importantly, the results support efforts to close the wage gap between Black and white Americans as a way to reduce racial disparities in aging. Yes, aging is now racist. Question 2, Pat. Guess what's racist? Closing Walmart, closing Walgreens, or closing Wall Drug?
Closing Walgreens.
That is correct. It is racist to close a Walgreens store, according to the Boston NAACP.
Protesting alongside dozens of other frustrated customers fighting to keep this Walgreens open.
Don't we need to have something in the community to help the Black, the elderly, the sick? You know what I'm saying? They can't go far.
The problem boils down to accessibility, says former Boston NAACP president turned healthcare advocate Michael Curry.
The communities where they're closing these pharmacies are communities where people are disparately impacted by disease, 2 or 3 times higher rates in cancer, diabetes, heart disease, where life expectancy can be 15, 20 years less.
While this isn't the only Walgreens or pharmacy chain set to close location in the coming weeks, Curry says it begs this question.
What is your obligation? What is your expectation as a corporate citizen to do what's right for those communities beyond what's right just for your bottom line?
For your bottom line, audio got cut off a little bit. Now, never, nowhere, at no point in this entire piece was it ever mentioned why exactly Walgreens was closing stores in the greater Boston area. It was because of theft. The Boston area Walgreens could no longer stay open because they were losing so much money due to theft. But of course, closing a Walgreens is racist. Guess what's racist, Pat? Final question for you. The U.S., the UK, or the United Arab Emirates? Gonna need an answer, Pat.
United K Emirates.
The United K Emirates, that was kind of 2 of the answers in one.
I know, I'm covering 2 at once.
You're covering 2 at once. Unfortunately, they're both wrong. Sometimes the easiest answer is the correct one. It is the U.S. The entire media, I wish I had just one example, but it's literally all of them, freaking out over the fact that Nikki Haley, presidential candidate, said America has never been a racist country. This from the Daily Beast. The former South Carolina governor's comments come just weeks after she sparked backlash by failing to mention slavery as the cause of the Civil War, prompting numerous cleanup attempts that included blaming her flub on a Democrat plant and mentioning her Black friends. And of course, they had to mention that this came a day after the United States honored the memory of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Haley's latest remarks are in response to MSNBC host Joy Reid claiming that Haley's third-place finish in the Iowa Republican caucus on Monday night is largely due to the former UN ambassador's race and ethnicity. It's the elephant in the room. She's still a brown lady that's got to try to win in a party that is deeply anti-immigrant and which accepts the notion you can Republicans say immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country, according to Joy Reid. Now, during a Tuesday morning appearance on Fox and Friends, Haley was asked to respond to Reid's comment. The progressive host, Haley said, lives in a different America than I do. I'm a brown girl that grew up in South Carolina, who became the first female minority governor in history, who became a UN ambassador and is now running for president. If that's not the American dream, I don't know what is. Now, Fox and Friends co-host Brian Kilmeade then wondered aloud whether Haley believes the GOP is a racist party, leading Haley not only to defend Republicans, but also the history of the United States. No, we're not a racist country, Brian. We've never been a racist country. Our goal is to make sure we are better than yesterday. Now, this has led to unprecedented, well, not all that unprecedented attempts by the media to remind their viewers that America is and has always been a racist country. So yes, the U.S. is racist. Pat, you did very well going 2 for 3, and guess what's racist today? We don't have a physical prize to offer you, but we can offer you something even better. Do you know what that is, Pat?
I'll take it.
That is a better understanding of how you fit in this complicated tapestry we call America's systemic racism. Pat, thank you so much for playing. Really did enjoy talking to you.
Anytime.
Thank you, sir. You have been listening to America's favorite game show, Guess What's Racist?
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend only to the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% off retail. This weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aww. He just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
When it comes to remodeling, everyone has advice about who you should hire. But who can you trust? Your boss? Neighbors? Random online reviews? No. When it comes to remodeling, you can trust NARI. All NARI members are experienced, proven, qualified, and verified by local people who know the industry and have your back. Start your next home improvement project by finding a professional on NARIMilwaukee.org. NARI Milwaukee. Local, trusted, proven.
Bob Dolan here for injury attorneys Pasternak and Zergabel, recognized as two of Wisconsin's best injury attorneys. Pasternak and Zergabel's extraordinary work and results are something I and other clients have known for years. Whether you're the victim of a car accident like I was or the victim of a dangerous product like asbestos, you need to contact Pasternak and Zergabel. See their website at injurywisconsin.com for award-winning personal injury attorneys Pasternak and Zergabel.
Hey, it's Vicki McKenna here, inviting you to join my annual fishing trip to Ontario's Lake of the Woods. Our destination is Ballard's Black Island Resort for the annual Vicki McKenna Canadian Fishing Adventure. The guides, the fishing, food, and the accommodations are all top shelf. The dates this year, July 7th to the 13th, and we only have room for 20 guests, so spaces will go quickly. Join me, Vicki McKenna, and sign up by going to blackisland.com. That's blackisland.com, and let's set the hook.
Blue Mountain Express. We're gonna put a smile on your face. We make it easy. BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your move.
Blue Mountain Express, moving and storage, statewide.
Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer makes selling your home as easy as 1, 2, 3. Get a no-obligation cash offer in 24 hours. Make sure it works for you, then pick your closing date. We will handle literally everything else at no expense. Visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
Wisconsin, you deserve better. You deserve stress-free quality roofing. Let Klaus Roofing Systems by Buck Buckley, BBB award-winning service, take care of you and your family. For a free roofing consultation, visit KlausRoofingByBuck.com. And remember, put a Klaus on your house.
Want to give as much money as possible to the government when you die? Didn't think so. Attorney Rob Mielek has helped thousands of clients maximize their financial legacy. Hear more on Your Hometown Lawyer, Saturday at 3 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Remember, fail to plan, plan to fail. MielekLaw@wi.com.
Hear the difference. The worldwide resources of Fox News and Milwaukee's home for factual, fair, and balanced coverage. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Conservative thought, not just talk. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Got an email here from Sean. I hope Belling comes back soon. I can't listen to this for 5 hours per day. I am not an ostrich. I completely understand what's at stake. You must be positive it is our only chance. Maybe you will reach some of the low information voters. I doubt you will. I responded, good, then you're probably going to stop emailing. Bye. The response, I was just trying to give you some advice, but aren't you the arrogant one? Now, I'd find it very ironic. He is giving me advice on how I need to talk and do my show, but I am arrogant for saying, thanks, I think I'm good. We got that. We got that. It is not at all arrogant to tell somebody you know how to do their job better than them. This is what I love. And I understand. I'm in the public eye, public ear, as it were. But it's this idea, well, Dan, it's the arrogance of the diehard Trump supporter that believes that anyone who is not exactly like them, who does not believe exactly as they believe, and who does not say exactly what they want to hear at all times is somehow not doing things right. Well, Dan, you're going to cost us the election. No, I am going to tell you exactly what I believe from now until 10. You want to turn it off? That's just fine. I'm sure WTMJ has some nice bundt cake recipes you can learn right now. I am absolutely certain you will be able to hear some content that doesn't offend your delicate ears. But if you don't think that Trump is going to be less likely to be elected after being criminally convicted at least once, and he is going to be criminally convicted at least once, it is my strong belief the United States Supreme Court is probably going to step in and overturn said conviction. Whether that'll happen before the election is anyone's guess. This is the political reality. This also gets misconstrued as, well, you're saying Trump can't win. I'm not. I believe yesterday I said that a hobo off of a random train track in San Francisco could beat Biden at this point. I'm saying that Democrats needed Trump to be the candidate. I think Trump is the only Democrat or only Republican that Biden can beat. I firmly believe that Biden is so weak that Trump actually does have I'm not going to say an easy path to the nomination, but I'm telling you, everything is going to change once these trials start and once convictions start rolling in. If you don't think a Manhattan jury is going to convict Trump in the obviously politically motivated non-case that the DA there has brought, you're nuts. If you don't think a D.C. federal jury is going to convict Trump in the January 6th case, you're nuts. The best chance he has of escaping conviction is probably in Fulton County, where the reckless and potentially criminal behavior of the prosecutor there, Fannie Willis, and shoveling money over to her lover, who then spent it on her, it's collapsing before their very eyes. And I think the Mar-a-Lago documents case is probably one based on the concept of the Presidential Records Act not being I mean, I don't want to get into all that, and I really can't because I don't have a whole ton of time. But if you don't think that these jurisdictions have been hand-selected for Trump to be convicted, you're not paying attention. And if you don't think the average voter, I cannot stress this enough, the average voter does not think like you. They don't. You cannot, they do not consume political media. They do not, in many cases, care about political media or what's going on in politics. They despise politics. They're the type of people who say they just want everyone to get together and solve the problems. This is the simplistic view that they have of the world. They aren't guided by philosophy. They aren't guided by something that underpins their belief structure. For them, politics really is a popularity contest. And the other very significant factor that needs to be overcome is that people have made their minds up about Trump, and it is very, very difficult to get people to change their minds. Pointing out this reality is, I'm open to suggestions, folks. Truly, I am. Maybe we'll do that on the Belling Show. How do you get people to change their minds about Trump? It's not a bad idea. Do we have one more break, Producer Dave? Yeah, we do. We got to take it right now. Otherwise, we're going to run out of time. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Talk Radio redefined. Dan O'Donnell will be right back.
Hey, it's Vicki McKenna here, inviting you to join my annual fishing trip to Ontario's Lake of the Woods. Our destination is Ballard's Black Island Resort for the annual Vicki McKenna Canadian Fishing Adventure. The guides, the fishing, food, and the accommodations are all top shelf. The dates this year, July 7th to the 13th, and we only have room for 20 guests, so spaces will go quickly. Join me, Vicki McKenna, and sign up by going to blackisland.com. That's Black BlackIsland.com, and let's set the hook.
DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, just dropped a brand new way to play fantasy football. It's Pick Six, and new customers can make their first NFL picks and get $100 back in Pick Six credits if they don't win. Getting started is simple. Pick a player, choose if he's going to have more or less of a stat, track your lineup, compete against others for big cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Pick Six app now and get started with code GREATESTPICK. New customers can get up to $50 back in Pick Six credit if your first pick set loses. Only on DraftKings Pick Six with code GREATESTPICK. The crown is yours. One offer per first-time DraftKings product customer. First qualifying pick set winnings less entry fees must generate negative number. Max reward up to $50 equal to amount of negative number. Issued in non-withdrawable Pick Six credits valid for Pick Six use only, expire after 1 year. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus. Valid only where DraftKings Pick Six operates. Void where prohibited. See terms at picksix.draftkings.com.
When you hire your local CertaPro painters, you get the power of a cut above. Decades of expertise to transform your home from so-so to virtuoso. The power of neighborhood painters. We live where you live and probably like the same pizza place you do. Put the power of pro to work for you today. Get your project started at CertaPro.com.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
Quality service maintenance plans. D&M offers an easy-to-understand and easy-on-the-budget maintenance plan. From 1 unit to multiple units. With savings on repairs, no overtime fees, priority service, and yearly maintenance, why wait? Call us today to learn more about why so many customers like yourselves enjoy the peace of mind that comes with a D&M quality service plan. Call 414-281-5350 or visit us at dmheating.com.
D&M. At your service.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and D&M.
Learn the secrets to create your own ultimate backyard retreat with Brett Ochtenhagen of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Tune in every Saturday at 1 p.m. on News Talk 1130 WISN. Learn more at seasonalservices.com.
Get answers to your remodeling questions from Milwaukee NARI Home Improvement Council members on this week's remodeling show. To find a trusted, qualified, dependable, and local remodeling specialist, turn to NARI. Call 414-771-4071 or visit MilwaukeeNARI.org.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Classical conservatism. Contemporary style. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
still laughing at the guy who says, "You're so arrogant. You won't listen to me tell you how terrible your show is and how much better I can do it than you." Okay. Pure arrogance on my part. Oh, what I can tell you is that next 10 months are going to be fun. I'm just saying, folks, if things don't go the way we want them to, and right now, if I were a betting man, I would bet on Trump to win the 2024 presidential election. I really would. All the polls in all the swing states are all saying the same thing. He's got a comfortable lead on Biden. Do not put it past Democrats, A, to replace Biden at the last minute with Gavin Newsom, which they believe would, I think, answer a lot of their prayers. The only reason I think, and I strongly believe this, that they haven't pressured Biden not to announce that he's not running again is that Kamala Harris would be the instant heir apparent. I mean, you have to do something about the Kamala Harris problem. Otherwise, you're in the exact same boat. Harris is actually viewed more negatively by most voters than Biden is. But once the next 10 months are underway, don't put it past Democrats to try to get those trials one after the other, one conviction after the other. It, I think, is going to take the United States Supreme Court, and there will be ample grounds to overturn every single conviction, as I've outlined. But once those convictions happen, you have to step out of your bubble, step out of looking at this as a conservative, as a Trump supporter, and look at it as the average person. And that's the key here. That's actually the key to understanding politics. I'm going to take a nap. I'll be back hosting the Mark Belling late afternoon show at 3 o'clock this afternoon.